Good morning, children, and welcome to our Sunday school. Today, I want you to imagine again that you are by the seaside. And usually, by the seaside, you will see a lifeboat station with lifeboat in the station all ready to go out if it's called. Similar to a fire station who are always ready to go out to a fire when they're called. But with the lifeboats, soon as they hear an alarm, the crew are ready to rush to the boat and to launch it in the water to rescue people, to help people in distress. They could be in the rough waters, could be aboard a ship that's having trouble, and they need to take the people off the ship because it may be due to capsize. Now, the lifeboat isn't a very large boat, but it has a crew of people all willing to risk their lives to rescue people, to help people. And so they go out when the sea is really rough and they hear the alarm, and they rescue them from the water and they rescue them from the ship, which, as you can imagine, trying to get near a big ship in high seas isn't that easy. And they take them back to the station so that they can get medical treatment if needed. Now, we have a helper, don't we, in Jesus. It's called the Holy Spirit, or God's little helper. And God's little helper is ready always when we ask for help, just like the lifeboat. Now, just in last week's story, Jesus told his disciples of the trouble that lay ahead. Judas had already gone to betray him, and he told Peter that before the cock crowed 3 times, he would deny that he knew Jesus. This was out of fear, and that's what happened. He did deny him, that he knew him. And it was out of fear. Otherwise, I don't think he would have done it. All the disciples were in fear of what had happened and what was about to happen. Jesus prayed to his Father so that his Father would help them, and he gave them an advocate. That was the Holy Spirit, and that would help them because Jesus knew what was going to happen, and he knew that they wouldn't fully understand the situation until he rose from the dead and was able for them to see him and be with them. And that is what has happened. The Holy Spirit is all around. You can't see it, but it's all around us and with us always. This truth is expressed in the words we say in church every Sunday when we're there. The Lord is here. His Spirit is with us. Would you like to say it with me? The Lord is here. The Spirit is with us. That's right. The word advocate comes from the Greek word parakletos, which does mean helper or one that stands by you at all times. It can also mean someone speaking on your behalf, say in a court of law. That would be an advocate. Or it could be something like a dispute at work. I was involved with this once, and I stood by my fellow colleague and I spoke up for him when asked to in the disciplinary. So that's what an advocate means. But we know what the God's little helper means too, don't we? Shall we say it again together? The Lord is here. His Spirit is with us. Now, I hope you enjoyed our Sunday school lesson for today. I look forward to seeing you next week. And bye for now. Bye-bye.
Good morning. This is the 6th Sunday of Easter. And I'm going to go through the Jesus fact file with you. So today we're looking at the Gospel of St. John, chapter 14, verses 15 to 21. I don't know whether you ever watch the news or whether you're at the seaside or perhaps at the docks. You might see some ships in the distance or maybe coming into a harbour. We were talking about ships last week coming into the harbour and the pilot boat that helps them to safely dock. When a ship is at sea, sometimes it gets into difficulties. There could be bad weather, or there could be a problem with the ship. When a ship does get into trouble, it will send out a signal, an SOS, asking for help. And another ship will come to rescue it, or a lifeboat, and sometimes a helicopter. They're all there ready to help, to rescue, to support, and to save people from dying, from drowning in the sea. I wonder, can you see this as an image of Jesus and the Holy Spirit in your life, in the work that they do and the work that they were doing then? So turning to the questions in the Jesus fact file. If we love Jesus, what will we do? So the answer can be found in the Gospel according to St. John, chapter 14, verse 15. So this is not about keeping rules, but more about doing things out of love. We often do things for our family and for our friends, not because we're told to do it, but because we want to do it, because we love them and we want to look after them. just like your family looks after you. So who will be with us forever? And the answer can be found in John chapter 14, verse 16. So now on the worksheet, it asks us to say the words, "The Lord is here. His Spirit is with us." Now we normally say those words in church, don't we? But we're not in church today, although we can still say them. The Lord is here. His Spirit is with us. So now on the worksheet, there's the word advocate. I don't know whether you've heard that word before. It's very often used in a legal setting. And the Greek, it says here, is parakletos. I've never heard of that word before, although I have been to Greece, but I only learnt to say hello in Greek, I'm afraid. So what does advocate mean? So if you ever watch some of the crime series, you might see a court case on television. And an advocate will be called upon to speak up for the person being accused. It's someone who can help that person. So it's a helper, someone who stands up for them, speaks on their behalf, might give that person extra strength to carry on, extra courage, and a witness, one who'll stand up for them and plead for them. Sometimes people are accused wrongly and they need someone to defend them. So an advocate would help them. It says next, can you describe how the Spirit of God is in your life? Is taking on the role of an advocate, a helper, a strengthener, and a witness. In the text, it says, we are not left alone like orphans. When we talk of orphans, we're normally referring to them having no parents. So it's saying here, we won't be left alone. The Spirit abides with you, with all of us. And we can look at John chapter 14 and verse 17. That's where this reference comes from. Jesus comes to you, and that can be found in John chapter 14, verse 18. In doing his will, we are open to his love. And you can find that reference in John chapter 14, verse 21. So it's a strange Jesus fact file this week. But hopefully when you read through the text, you will understand. This is about how the Lord continues to be with us and the help that he continues to provide. So now there's a prayer. And it says, after each sentence, repeat, the Lord is here. His Spirit is with us. So after each line, you might like to join with me in saying those words. In our joys and in our sorrows, the Lord is here. His Spirit is with us. In our sickness and in our health, the Lord is here. His Spirit is with us. In our success and in our failure, the Lord is here. His Spirit is with us. In our busyness and in our loneliness, the Lord is here. His Spirit is with us. In time and for all eternity, the Lord is here. His Spirit is with us. These are the answers to the Jesus Fact File for the 5th Sunday of Easter. And the answers were to be found in the Gospel according to St. John, chapter 14, verses 1 to 14. So these were the events leading up to the crucifixion. Jesus wanted to prepare the disciples for the events that were to come. So the first question was, what did Jesus tell the disciples? Jesus said, do not be afraid. As you believe in God, believe also in me. The second question was, what was Jesus going to do? He told them he was going to prepare a place for them, so that they could be with him in heaven. You were asked to write your name in the box provided. So I hope you managed to do that. What did Jesus promise? If he was going to prepare a place for them, he promised he would come back and take them with him, so that they could be with him and his Father in heaven. So the final question was about Thomas. What did Jesus say to the puzzled Thomas? Thomas didn't understand. If Jesus was going away, how would he know how to follow Jesus? He didn't know where he was going. Thomas was thinking of this in a literal way, not in a spiritual way. So Jesus replied, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man comes to the Father except by me. That's the end of this week's Jesus Fact File. See you next week.